Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here again, taking apart the strategies behind mastering complex knowledge.
That's right. And today, we are looking closely at a very specific course architecture. It's called AI Prompting for Essay Success.
And the goal here, as the course itself states, isn't small. We're not talking about tiny improvement.
No, not at all. It's aimed at transformation. The idea is to shift SAT prep from, maybe random practice.
Into something systematic. A framework powered by AI, designed, they say, for a really significant 100-200 point score increase.
And that number, that 100, 200 points, that tells you something important. It signals this isn't just content review.
It's more fundamental.
Exactly. It's about rethinking how a student actually engages with the material. We've seen the course build up through phases, diagnostics, basics.
Laying the groundwork.
Right. But today we hit a crucial phase. It's labeled practical application and stamina building. This is where it gets really interesting.
This is where the student stops being just a learner of facts.
And starts becoming a strategist, someone learning how to actually, beat the test.
We've covered some of the earlier techniques, targeted prompts, generating content. But Module 7, that feels like a real pivot point in the system.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
It's positioned right after the foundations are set. The student is meant to be ready for, a different kind of challenge.
And the title tells you a lot. It's quite provocative. Using AI as a Socratic opponent.
Socratic opponent. That name itself sets up a philosophical goal, doesn't it? It immediately reframes the student's role.
How so?
Well, you're not just passively taking in information anymore.
Yeah.
Answering questions.
Like in standard prep.
Exactly. Instead, you become, a thinker.
Yeah.
A debater, maybe. A cognitive strategist.
So it's not about having the AI do the work.
Not at all. It's about using the AI's huge knowledge base to challenge yourself, to test your own assumptions, your own reasoning, really rigorously.
Which, in theory, builds intellectual resilience.
That's the core idea.
Yeah.
And it aims to make test prep less of a chore, less draining.
And more. Active, dynamic, stimulating even, a genuine cognitive challenge.
Okay, let's dive into that first idea then. The intellectual sparring partner, why Socratic AI is stimulating. Moving beyond just calling it fun, what's the actual shift happening here?
Well, the stimulation comes from tapping into something like flow state, maybe. Traditional SAT prep, it often causes anxiety, right? Or just boredom.
Time drills, endless memorization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Socratic model kind of flips the psychology. You're not fighting the material. You're in a strategic contest.
Against the AI.
Right. An opponent that knows practically everything, but is safe. It's always available. There's no judgment, just the challenge.
That framing strategic contest seems key because typical studying is so linear. Read something, answer a question, check the key.
And the feedback is just right or wrong.
Yeah.
Binary. The learning often just stops right there.
Okay, so how does the Socratic AI change that interaction?
It completely flips it. When you, as the student, give an answer and maybe explain why you chose it.
The AI doesn't just grade you. It pushes back. It forces you to actively defend that answer.
So it becomes a dialogue.
A real dialogue, yes. The AI might question the evidence you use from the text. It might challenge the logic of your inference.
And crucially,
it presents alternative viewpoints. Other answers that sound really plausible, even if they're ultimately wrong. The distractors.
I can see how that pressure cooker environment forces a deeper level of understanding. You can't just skim.
Exactly. Surface comprehension isn't enough when you have to defend your choice against a smart counterargument.
You have to grasp the text structure, the author's real point, the logic of the question itself, not just where the answer is mentioned.
Precisely. It's a serious intellectual challenge. You're literally testing the limits of your own logic against this powerful model.
And if you can successfully defend your reasoning against that,
then you know you've achieved a much deeper, more robust understanding. It's not just knowing the answer anymore. It's mastering it.
the satisfaction comes from winning the argument, essentially.
Yes, but more than that. It comes from successfully anticipating and neutralizing the smartest counter-arguments the AI could devise. That's real intellectual engagement, when the struggle itself makes you smarter.
It shifts the burden from just absorbing information to actively interrogating it.
You're not just confirming what you know. You're making that knowledge stronger, almost battle-hardened.
And that resilience, that strength, must have direct applications on the test.
Absolutely. Which brings us straight to the first major application taught in this module.
Right. Let's get into strengthening arguments with the devil's advocate technique. This is where that intellectual stimulation starts turning into actual SAT points.
Yeah, because argument is everywhere on the SAT, isn't it? Reading comprehension reasoning, analyzing writing structure. It's all argument.
So the adventure, as the course puts it, is learning how to build arguments that can withstand scrutiny because you've already found and fixed the weak spots.
Exactly. Proactively.
And the course gets very specific about how to do this with prompts. It's not just asking simple questions.
No, it's about crafting a scenario. You're telling the AI how to behave. You want it to be a critic, a sharp one, not just a helper.
The prompt itself becomes a strategic tool.
It really is. It's designed for conflict, for adversarial thinking, not just confirmation.
Yeah.
Let's take a reading comprehension example.
Okay.
So the student thinks the answer is B. They don't just ask, is B right? They give a much more detailed prompt, something like,
My answer to this reading comprehension question is B, and I think the key evidence is in lines 45-50.
right, grounding it in the text. Then comes the instruction for the AI. Act specifically as a devil's advocate.
Defining the role clearly.
Your mission is to provide two strong text-supported arguments explaining why my choice B might actually be wrong, or why another answer, maybe choice A or C, which looks plausible, is actually the superior choice.
Wow. Okay. That is much more directive than how most people probably use AI. You're forcing it to defend the wrong answers.
Exactly. You're forcing it to build the case against you.
But wait, for a student who's maybe already finding the material difficult, isn't there a risk there? Could asking the AI to argue for wrong answers just confuse them more?
That's a really important question, and it points to the course design. This module, Module 7, comes after the foundational stuff. It's in the practical application phase.
So the assumption is the student already has some basic competence. They're getting maybe 50%, 60% right already.
Precisely. This Socratic method isn't for building understanding from zero. It's for refining it, sharpening it.
And how is the risk managed?
The risk is managed because the student first has to commit to their answer, B, in our example, and ideally articulate why they chose it before they get the AI's critique.
Ah, okay. So they have their own reasoning clear first.
Right. Then the AI attacks it. The goal isn't just knowing why D is right. It's achieving that deep understanding of why the other options, the distractors, are wrong, even when they seem persuasive.
So it's about anticipating the traps, dismantling the flaws before you even see them on test day.
Exactly that. Think of it like stress testing your reasoning, like testing armor. Before you go into battle, you hit it with everything you've got in a safe environment.
So you use the AI to simulate the toughest counterarguments.
And if your logic holds up against the AI's best shot, then you know it's solid. Then, when you see a tempting wrong answer on the real SAT,
it doesn't fool you. You've already seen that line of reasoning and dismantled it.
And that connects straight to how the SAT works, right? With those distractors, those plausible but incorrect answers.
They're infamous for that.
Absolutely. The test is designed to catch common errors in thinking. Distractors aren't random, they're engineered. They prey on misinterpretations, logical fallacies.
So the AI's critique, playing devil's advocate, essentially reveals the blueprint for those traps.
It can, yes. Let's make it concrete. What might an AI counterargument actually look like?
Okay, yeah. Give us an example. Student chose B based on the main idea. What does the AI say?
Okay, so the AI, playing devil's advocate for answer A, might argue something like this. Argument for A. You chose B, but notice the final paragraph. The author spends that whole section, which often carries extra weight, describing the limitations of the solution proposed earlier. Therefore, answer choice, A, which suggests the author is actually reserved or skeptical, might capture the author's final overall tone more accurately than B, which implies confidence.
Wow. That's sophisticated. It's not just disagreeing, it's using rhetorical structure as evidence.
Exactly. And that forces the student to do more than just repeat B is right. They have to go back to the text and find evidence that specifically counters that interpretation of the ending.
So the student might reply.
They might say something like, okay, yes, the final paragraph mentions limitations, but look at the specific words used, minor hurdles, challenges to be addressed. That language suggests the author sees them as solvable problems, not reasons to doubt the whole approach. The bulk of the passage describing the method supports the confident tone in B.
And in doing that, the student just practiced several key skills: analyzing rhetoric, weighing evidence, refuting a complex counter.
Skills directly tested on the SAT. And the AI might use its second argument to target a different kind of flaw, maybe a logical leap.
Like correlation versus
Or
causation.
a false dichotomy, yeah.
Yeah.
If it's a social science passage, the AI might defend choice C by saying, the author presents data supporting outcome C. While other outcomes are discussed, C is the only one backed by statistics, appealing to empirical evidence, making it the strongest conclusion.
Trying to exploit a bias towards numbers.
Right, and the student then has to recognize, wait, the author used those stats to illustrate a trend or a factor, not to definitively prove C as the sole conclusion. They expose the AI's flawed appeal to empiricism.
So by grappling with these AI-generated sophisticated arguments against their own choice,
The student essentially gets inside the head of the test designer. You start seeing wrong answers not just as mistakes, but as carefully built traps.
and you learn how to spot them, how to diffuse them.
Which builds that unshakable confidence you need for a high-stakes test. You go from being potentially trapped to being the one who sees the trap coming.
That mastery of individual arguments then sets the stage for something even more complex on the digital SAT.
Yes, it does. Which is the next key application in Module 7, exploring the landscape of ideas for cross-text mastery.
This targets those cross-text connections questions directly, right? The synthesis question.
Exactly. And these are tough for many students. They demand real cognitive flexibility.
Yeah, you can't just understand passage 1, then passage 2 separately.
You have to hold both in your mind, see how they relate, where they agree, where they clash, and synthesize that into one coherent answer.
How does Socratic AI help here? Because the traditional way is often kind of tedious, making charts, comparing lists.
Right. The AI approach tries to make it more dynamic, more like an intellectual exploration. The core idea is to prompt the AI to simulate a debate between the authors.
So not just summarize each passage.
No. You ask the AI to essentially roleplay, to adopt the persona of each author and make them interact. You force the points of tension or agreement out into the open.
You're using the AI almost like a director staging a scene between the two texts.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
You prompt it to be a moderator, author A's voice, and author B's voice, all in one. The aim is to quickly map the ideological landscape between them. And again, the prompt needs to be specific.
Let's break down that prompt structure. How does the course suggest setting this up?
Okay, it would go something like this. Here are two passages discussing, say, renewable energy policy and economics. You provide the texts. Then, first, adopt the persona of author A. Summarize their main approach and conclusion. Second, adopt the persona of author B and summarize their core argument.
Standard summary first.
Yes, but then the crucial part. Finally, explain a specific point of disagreement between these two authors. Focus on the philosophical or methodological differences, particularly the underlying assumptions each author seems to be making.
I like that focus on underlying assumptions. That goes deeper than just they disagree about costs.
Exactly. It pushes beyond the surface topic to the core worldview or analytical framework. That's where the real synthesis happens.
So what's the unique value here? What does the AI output give you that just carefully reading both passages might not?
It's the immediate structured articulation of the nuance of the disagreement. A student reading might see, okay, author A wants government rules, author B wants market incentives.
Right.
But the AI, prompted this way, might pinpoint why. It might say, the core disagreement stems from author A assuming a fundamental need for regulatory intervention to correct market failures, that's a philosophical assumption, whereas author B assumes market mechanisms, perhaps with carbon pricing, are inherently more efficient at driving innovation. That's the methodological assumption.
That distinction, market failure versus market efficiency, that's precisely the kind of conceptual clarity needed for those synthesis questions.
It gives you the language, the framework. It teaches you how to map the landscape of the debate, not just find one point of overlap. It feels much more like an exploration.
And that trains a deeper skill, doesn't it? Understanding not just what people argue, but why they argue it, based on their fundamental beliefs or methods.
Absolutely. It's training for intellectual maturity. Seeing the AI stage this debate helps you learn to identify those hidden assumptions in any argument. That ability to analyze different sides, understand their internal logic, that's critical thinking.
Which is exactly what the SAT at its best is trying to measure.
And what you need in college and beyond. It turns prep for a tricky question type into something creative almost.
And it connects back to that core idea, multiple perspectives enrich understanding. It's not about picking sides.
It's about understanding the architecture of the arguments on all sides. That kind of mastery prepares you not just for the test, but for navigating complex issues generally.
Okay, let's pull back then and synthesize the impact of this whole module, Module 7.
Looking at it overall, this Socratic approach, it really exemplifies the best way to use AI in education, ethically and effectively. It's built on what's often called the human-in-the-loop principle.
All right, Hume in the loop. Let's unpack that because it's crucial here. In Module 7, the student isn't passive at all. They're the interrogator, the evaluator. That's a huge shift.
It really is. It's the difference between, say, outsourcing your thinking to the AI versus using the AI to supercharge your own thinking.
How does that play out specifically in these Socratic exercises?
Well, in basic AI use, maybe ask for an answer, you get it, you accept it, passive. Here, the AI throws complex counterarguments at you. But you, the human student, you have to be the overseer.
You have to judge the AI's output.
Exactly. You scrutinize its logic. Is its textual evidence valid? Is its critique actually strong, or is it maybe flawed itself? Does it reveal a real weakness in your argument, or is the AI missing something?
That requires serious mental effort from the student.
It does. You have to be sharp enough to know when the devil's advocate is making a good point and when it's bluffing, so to speak.
So the module isn't just teaching prompt techniques, it's teaching critical evaluation of AI output.
Which is an increasingly vital skill. It trains you to wield this powerful tool responsibly, using its analytical power to sharpen your own mind, not letting it become a crutch that weakens it.
The transformation then is moving from needing external validation like an answer key to developing internal confidence.
Confidence built through rigorous self-challenge, yeah.
Yeah.
You're no longer just receiving knowledge. You're actively forging it, defending it against a tough opponent. And that leaves you ready for the more advanced strategies later in the course.
That confidence really is the score boost, isn't it? It's built on genuine mastery.
I believe so. And the adventure here in Module 7, it goes beyond just the SAT reading section. It's about mastering critical engagement in a world drowning in information. Much of it complex, some of it AI-generated.
Learning to argue effectively against your own strongest beliefs, that might be one of the most valuable skills anyone can develop right now.
I completely agree. And the applications are immediate, far beyond test prep. Think about any complex decision or belief in your own life.
Where you naturally have your own biases.
Right. How often do we rigorously challenge our own preferred solutions or deeply held beliefs?
It's striking how practical this technique is. Anyone can try it.
Exactly. That's the key takeaway. You can apply this Socratic opposition right now. Think about some complex issue you're dealing with, a work project, a financial decision, maybe understanding a political issue better.
How would you apply it?
You could literally ask an AI, here's my position on X, and here's my reasoning. Now, act as a devil's advocate and give me the strongest possible arguments against my position.
Forcing yourself to confront the counter-arguments with evidence, not just gut feeling.
Yes. That act of critical engagement, of strengthening your own reasoning by facing opposition, that's the real mastery Module 7 aims to deliver.